That's how far out you need to be from me on this side and on this side and in the front and in the back. Personal space bubbles are a real thing. They're a real thing in the United States.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Hi, and welcome back to my channel, The Rivera's Travel. Today I wanted to do something different. I wanted to switch it up because I've been here in Tanzania for a little over a year at this point. And if you are here, if you've ever been out of the country and stayed for an extended period of time, especially I think if you've been to Tanzania or been to Africa, you get people asking you, how can I go to the United States? What is it like in the United States? Can you get me in the United States? You know, things that you don't think that a complete stranger would ask you, but they do. So my husband was, I don't know what he was doing, but he found this article that's listed 20 plus things Americans warn foreigners never to do in the US. So we're sitting in bed and we're just going over and we're laughing because a lot of the stuff that Americans generally would warn foreigners not to do, Mushiba, not my dog, would warn foreigners not to do, they do here in Tanzania. So if you are Tanzanian or maybe East African, I don't know if this is just a Tanzania thing. We've only been to East African countries, and we've been to Kenya, and in Kenya, it wasn't the same experience. So I'm just gonna get started. I will link the article so you can read it yourself. I'm not gonna read all of them because some of them are just kind of stupid, like don't cheat the IRS. Okay, I guess if you're a foreigner moving to the United States, pay your taxes because they will deport you or put you in jail. They'll get free labor out of you or send you back to where you came from. But that's neither here nor there. This is more of a fun list. At least it was fun. It was funny to us. So let's get started. And this is a convo that I've had with a Tanzanian because he asked me about this. So let me just, like I said, let me just get started. If you get pulled over, don't ever do this. And it says, in some other countries, if you get pulled over for a traffic violation, it's perfectly fine to get out of the car as the cop approaches. Do not do this in the United States. Stay in your car. Especially if you are brown. It's safer for you to stay in your car. And not just stay in your car, make sure your hands are visible. It could happen to you too, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm back. I had to put my dogs away because they wanted to be near me. Okay, so this one is a really big one. Again, if you know, then you know. Don't think that it's okay to skip the line. There have been so many times when I have been standing in line in a grocery store, at a restaurant, at a market, anywhere where someone has proceeded to walk in front of me and pay for their stuff. We don't do that in the US. That'll get you cursed out. It is so disrespectful to us. And I always thought that maybe I was being too harsh when I reacted like, so you don't see me standing here? And they'll just, I mean, I can't even count the amount of times that someone has just walked right past me, put their stuff on the belt, and then the cashier takes them. The cashier doesn't say, oh wait, she was here first. They just ring up their stuff. And you're just standing there like, am I invisible? Billions of times it's happened. And it's not just to me. It's to people that I know, my husband, friends, we talk about it, and it's just like, well, maybe it's just us that we think that it's weird, but I guess it's an American thing. You know, you wait your turn. You just wait. Everybody's in a hurry. It doesn't matter if you only have one item and I have 47 items. If that's the case, then you can ask me, would you mind if I go in front of you because I only have one item? And I have the prerogative to say yes or no. So when you're in the US, it's always wait your turn. This one is something I've experienced personally. I've noticed personally. Do not trespass onto unknown property. It's not, here, we've done it. They're building houses and you want to see the inside. You can just be like, hey, can I And they're just like, and they'll let you walk right into this house that's being built. And we have done it before. But in the US, you can get shot. Like, they have signs that say do not trespass, and they mean it. It's not about, like, there's trespassing laws in the US where they don't seem to have those same laws here. I come outside of the property that I live on, and we live in a compound, I guess it's not a compound. There's just walls everywhere. So you can't really see inside the person's house. But I come out and people are just sitting on the curb in front of our house all the time, driving our dogs like mad. So I guess it's normal here, but you're not gonna go and sit on someone's grass in the United States and think they're just gonna say nothing to you. You're lucky if they don't pull out a rifle, a shotgun, and aim it at you and give you 3 seconds to get off their property. I feel like a lot of these are to keep you safe from getting shot by Americans because guns are everywhere. Oh, this is the one where I said I've actually had this conversation with a Tanzanian, a guy that used to drive us around. It says, don't try to bribe a police officer. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, is this a huge thing here in Tanzania. All of Tanzania, not just Dar. The cops here are basically glorified, what do they call them? I would say traffic cops, but traffic cops, even they have more power in the States. Here, they're more like meter maids. They're more like meter maids, yeah. They'll pull you over, and it's not like you're not speeding, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just common for them to pull you over and ask for your license, ask for your insurance, and try to find something on your car where they can ticket you for it. And instead of getting a ticket that's like, I don't know, 30,000 T-shillings, when you could just bribe them 5,000, 10,000 T-shillings and get out of it. In the US, oh, no. Absolutely not. It's illegal. It's illegal. Very, very illegal to bribe a police officer. So, if you're Tanzanian and you're watching this and you wonder why we Americans get so bent out of shape when you tell us, oh, just bribe the officer. That's just why. It's not a thing in the States, and you'll get in trouble for it. Because like I said before, it's highly illegal. This one is a good one because we do rage. Y'all drive like Mario Kart out here in Tanzania, but we have road rage, and it's very different. Okay, it says, if you're up against someone with road rage, hold your tongue. I personally don't adhere to this. I will go toe-to-toe with someone in road rage. But that's where I was raised. If you meet some person in some place that just wants to pick a fight with you, just don't say anything. They get out their car, don't stop your car. Like, don't give them a chance to approach you. It's not that serious. People are looking for a reason to fight sometimes. So just don't give them a reason to. Just keep going to your destination. And if they follow you, call the police. Because now you feel like you're unsafe. Either call a police officer or go to a police station. And more than likely, they'll just back off. It's funny. I've already gone through all of these with my husband. But just rereading them, it just makes me laugh. Do not forget to leave a tip at a restaurant. If you're a Tanzanian or if you've been in Tanzania, you understand that tipping is not a part of their culture. It just isn't. I personally will still tip depending on the service, but it's not customary to tip here. But y'all, if you go to the United States, it's customary to tip there. So do not come, like it is unbelievably rude to not tip someone that's provided you a service. Now, if the service is bad, then yes, not the food. The person that served you has nothing to do with your food quality. But if the person is out of pocket, talk to a manager or whatever, but leave a tip. Because what they're getting paid is very small. Very small. And I know you all want to compare salaries in the States versus in certain countries. but it's not the same. The cost of living in the United States is very high compared to many other countries. So when you're getting paid $4 an hour, if that, that's nothing. So tips are a part of your salary, and they're necessary for you to make a living. So just the same way you expect us to leave our culture at the door when we come in, with this one, I would say the same thing. Leave it at the door. If you don't tip where you're from and you go to the United States, tip. If you're not sure how to tip, ask. And normally, the bottom of your receipt, it shows you how to. That's how important tipping is in this culture. Make sure your child is in a car seat. That is something that I think that is more pressing, because I still can't see anyone in their right mind leaving their baby in a car. It just doesn't make any sense. But then again, I've only been to a handful of countries, and again, I've never seen that. But a car seat is necessary in the United States. We drive like bats out of hell, and car accidents are not infrequent. The last thing you want is to take your precious child from the country that they're from, bring them to the United States so they can visit and see X, Y, and Z, put them in a car with no car seat, no seat belt, no safety, anything, and they end up dying. It's a real thing. And even if you don't get into an accident, if a cop sees you in the car without a car seat, you're definitely getting pulled over, and you're definitely gonna get sued. Nonetheless, please, if you're going to come here and rent a car, they're going to offer you a car seat for your child. Take the car seat for your child's safety at the very least. Forget about the cops and forget about getting tickets. But for your child's safety, you want them to be in a car seat in the US. This one was interesting. This one caught me off guard. Don't go to Florida. Now I'm gonna give you what they said, as opposed to like my experience opinion. I've been to Orlando maybe about 6 or 7 times. I've flown in, I've driven in. I've also been to Fort Lauderdale, Key West, and Miami. I never had any issues, but there's some poop, going on here in Florida with brown people. The state of Florida has decided that they're going to be I don't even know how to say it. I mean, I feel like it gets censored. Have decided that they're going to be racist. I'm just going to come out and say it. So it's not safe for people to go to Florida. So they say, look, Florida doesn't have a great reputation. There's a reason that Florida man is a thing. I don't know what Florida man is. I'm going to have to look that up. Weird stuff happens there all the time. It can seem enticing with its beaches and delicious Cuban food from down south, but it's probably best to just avoid. There are alligators and other dangerous wildlife, and the vibes are not giving. Now, I've never seen an alligator or anything dangerous while I've been in Florida, and I have driven through Florida. I've been to Clearwater. Like I've been in Florida. The last line, and the vibes are not giving, that's the part we're talking about, where you may have to deal with people with certain views of your complexion and where you do and do not belong. This is back to the police. A lot of things revolve around the police. Don't make any sudden movements stopped by the cops. Like I said before, if you get pulled over for speeding or not wearing a seatbelt, that's also a crime. Just keep your hands on the steering wheel until they ask you for your insurance. They're gonna ask you for your license, your insurance, and probably your rental agreement, because if you're foreign, you're probably visiting. But if you live there, you'll get used to the cops. By used to it, I mean you'll get familiar with it. It's not like you'll always get pulled over, but you're bound to get pulled over at least once or twice. So stay in the car, hands where they can see them, and don't make any sudden movements, because cops, for whatever reason, seem to be very afraid of people, especially if you're a certain complexion, and they're bound to release onto you. This one was funny. Stay out of the left lane unless you're passing. I mean, many Americans don't even follow this rule, but so here in TZ, I don't know if they have passing lanes because everybody just seems to drive. Like I said, it's Mario Kart out here. It is every man for themselves. So we in the States have, let's just say there's the freeway, expressway, highway, different, depends on where you are. Toll road. There would maybe be 3 lanes, and the third lane, the lane furthest left, is a passing lane. So you don't just drive in this lane. If someone in front of you is going slow, you pass on the left, and the very last lane on the left is normally the passing lane. So you pass in that lane, and then you get back to the lane you were in, and you just keep going. So that's what they mean. No one really is supposed to drive in that lane, and I feel like in certain places you can get a ticket for it. Tickets are plentiful in the US. Everything's illegal. You'll be better off. I guess you gotta drive though. It's not as easy to get a driver in the US as it is in East Africa. Oh, this is a good one. Always mind your space. Personal space. Please. Please. See this? You can't even see where my hand goes. That's how far out you need to be from me on this side and on this side and in the front and in the back. Personal space bubbles are a real thing. They're a real thing in the United States. If we could actually walk around in personal space bubbles, we would. Again, being here in Tanzania, and I didn't have that issue when we went to Kenya. Nope, only here in TZ. They stand so close to you. They're basically standing on top of you. And you're counting out money. You're putting in PIN numbers. And you're just like, can you back up? There's a lot of hovering. Even if you're not paying for something, just being in line, you're standing somewhere, they stand right next to you. And as Americans, we're just like, oh, please don't touch me. Please don't touch me. So that is a real thing. Please mind your space and mind mine, because you bump into somebody, step on their foot, don't say excuse me. You could avoid all those things if you would mind your space. This is a really good one. It's a bad idea to pee in an alleyway. It's a bad idea to pee in anything that's not a toilet. And I would imagine many of you were saying like, who just pees anywhere? Tanzanians. I have seen more men, women, and children peeing on the sides of roads, next to stores, than I've ever seen in my life. And I lived in LA. There's a huge population of homelessness in LA, and even they use public bathrooms. Here, there's a lot of peeing on the streets. Don't do it in the States. It's another one of those things that'll get you a ticket. And if you have moved to the United States, learn the rules and learn them quickly, because things that you all can do in other countries, you just can't do there. You just cannot do there. And if you're on an immigration status, the last thing you want is to be getting tickets because you chose not to go to a bathroom and relieve yourself. Now, mind you, people pee on the side of the road. They do, but it's not as common as it is here. It just isn't. Don't freak out if you see a gun. They're everywhere. Conceal and carry is a thing where you shouldn't be able to see it because it's concealed, but also there are states where you don't have to conceal it. I think Arizona is one of those states. First time I saw a gun on a random white guy was at a Walmart, and he was just walking through Walmart with a gun on his waist. Like, why? But yeah, it's super common. It's not like it's not like a Western, or it's not like, you know, everywhere you go, you're just gonna see people with guns. And maybe Texas, like I don't know. But so far I've lived in Illinois, and their gun laws are pretty strict. If you live in Chicago, you know, they want to the gun laws are strict in Chicago. I've lived in Los Angeles, in California, and they're even more strict. You're not just walking around with a gun in California. It's too many people. It's too hot. You're just not. But we live in Arizona, And I'm pretty sure you can carry. That's why I saw the guy with the gun. Yeah, you can carry a gun on you and just you walk into the store buying grapes with a gun on your hip. This is a good one. Don't jaywalk. For those of you who don't know what jaywalking is, I'll put a definition here. But jaywalking is crossing the street wherever you want to, not inside a crosswalk. In Chicago, we invented jaywalking. So we jaywalk. We will cross in front of your car. We will cross in front of your car. But it's illegal, and I know it's illegal in California. They will give you a ticket. If a cop sees you crossing the street all willy-nilly, you're gonna get a ticket. Whoop whoop. You're gonna hear that siren, see those lights, and they're gonna pull you over. They're gonna stop you and give you a ticket. Here in Tanzania, people cross wherever they want to. Goats cross wherever they want to. Chickens cross wherever they want to. Don't do it in the States. Depending on, I'm not saying learn all the local laws because that's too much. But if you're gonna be somewhere, act like an American. So if you are in New York or in Chicago or in Los Angeles or in Dallas, you know, in these major cities, and you see groups of people standing in one spot across the street, it's best to just do the same. And so this is gonna be the last one. This was pretty good. Don't park in handicap spots or differently abled or disabled, however you decide to call them. If you see a painted wheelchair on the ground, don't park there unless that is you. And by that is you, I mean you have a placard hanging in your car that proves that you can park there, because you will get a ticket. Basically, this whole list was so that you can avoid getting tickets. You can avoid having to deal with the police or angry Americans. And it's just general safety rules and general kindness rules. I would love to have known some of this stuff when I came here. It was like, and honestly, I feel like based off of being raised in the States, it seems like anything goes when you're outside of the country. Like, you can jaywalk, you can pee on the side of the road. If you have anything you'd like to add to this list, as an American or a Westerner, advice for people from, I go say the Eastern world, coming to the United States, and things that you think that they should steer clear of, please add in the comments below. And I will see you next time.